What do you do if you turn the water off and it keeps dripping? The first thing you do is shut off the local valves to the sink. Make sure the water's off by opening the valves and seeing if any water comes out. Close the drain valve so that nothing falls down the drain if you drop a part. Next, you can just pop these covers off. They're just little pressure hot and cold indicators. And underneath those, there are screws. In my case, it's a little Phillips. Turns until the knob assembly comes off. Underneath that, there's a little nut that needs to be loosened. And when that comes off, we take this assembly out. And down in here, there's something called a seat and a spring. If you look down in there, you can see the holes where the water comes up. I just used the smallest screwdriver I've got. I'm going to reach down in there and pull the seat and spring out. So that's the seat, and there's the spring. So this sits on there, and that spring pressure holds it against the bottom of this. When you turn it, there's a hole in the middle. The water can come through, but when you turn it off, it's supposed to seat and seal against that section right there. For whatever reason, this one's not sealing. It could be that the spring is just worn out, or it could be some damage to the seal. We need to get replacements for these to fix this leak. If you know the brand of your faucet, that will help you get the right seat and springs. On the back of this one, it says Oakbrook. So this is an Oakbrook faucet, not a big name, at least that I recognize, like Delta or Peerless, something like that. But we're gonna go to the hardware store and see if we can find a set of seats and springs for an Oakbrook faucet. I looked out at the hardware store, I found one for Oakbrook Universal Washless Cartridge. I was just going to do the seats and springs, but this kit comes with the cartridges too, and it could be that those have worn out. The seats and springs need to go in first. Down in there where the water comes up, I put the spring in there and then the seal on top, and then I've tucked the edges down to make sure they're going in around there. Now I'm going to do that again on the other side. The cone shape goes towards the top, the fat part towards the bottom. Threading it over my screwdriver, putting the screwdriver in the hole, and then working it down, and then tuck the edges of the seal into the hole as I put just a little pressure on it with my finger, and then hoping to get it seated properly. Now it feels like it. We put these cartridges in, and they've got this fixture here that controls the turn of the knob. So for this particular faucet, we want that on the inside. There's also a little locking feature down here to make sure they're in the right orientation. And I'm going to push that down, then we put this nut, and always start these by hand. If you turn them backwards first, you know you're not going to cross thread them. They should thread on easily at first, and then you snug it up with an adjustable wrench. You don't want to over tighten it, you want it to be snug. So I think those are good. So next we'll take the knobs, and there's an orientation fixture, so it's got to go on the right way. And then, well, before I put that on, I'm going to turn the water on. We're going to test this. Okay, I've turned the valves on. And before I've secured this, I just want to make sure it works, because if it has an issue, I need to fix it. I have to take it apart again. And we'll turn it on, and it works. But the most important thing is, if when I turn it off, does it not drip? And it looks like we're in good shape. I'm going to put the handles back on, and hopefully our dripping faucet is a thing of the past. Now that we've got it all back together, I can open the drain and test it one more time. No drip. I think we're in pretty good shape. Remember, you're never done until you've cleaned up. And there you have it. A drain that doesn't drip. If you're growing up and your dad's not in your daily life, then make sure you subscribe to this channel. If you haven't downloaded the Map to Manhood yet, go to maptomanhood.org and check it out. This activity would actually count for one of the actions on the milestone for education on the self-discipline track. Keep an eye out for the book, The Map to Manhood, a guide for young men growing up without a dad. And always remember, you can still succeed even if your dad's not in your daily life. And you do have a dad that loves you. And I'll see you on the next video.